So here I've got the Gran Via number 60. Now, little story I've got here that tells either from number 60 and number 56, I can't quite remember, but anyway, friends of mine were living in either number 56 or number 60. It was in a hostel sort of place, two girls sharing a room, one man, he was in a single room. And I read in the Times that there were some Spanish people who were shocked at the advertisements which were appearing in some of the Spanish press. Now, to me that was pretty obvious what that meant. Anyway, so we've got a hold of a copy of, I think it was El País, and there indeed were some shocking advertisements, one of which was for a young lady called Minerva, who was operating out of number 60, which would be here. And anyway, we did a brief reconnaissance, and we saw indeed it said senoritas. And what we did, we had another friend, whose name I won't mention, unless he comes forward and says it, volunteers his name. And he said we used to talk about this Minerva and what a great time we used to have with her. And anyway, so he got quite interested, but then he stopped believing it. Anyway, we got one girl to pretend to be Minerva one day, and my friend Philomena called this other person over one day, and the conversation went like this, that so what's your name, he told her. Oh really? And so where are you from? I'm from London. Oh really? I love people from London. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a little party around at my place at 10 o'clock on Saturday, but why don't you come around at 8 o'clock and that'll give us a couple of hours to get to know each other. And he rushed up to the library, very excited to tell me about this, and I said, look, I'm warning you, don't do anything with her. She's made sexual advances to James, she's made them to me, and she'll almost certainly make them to you. Obviously that was what he was wanting to hear, so anyway, no, and the rest of the story we only know from him. So anyway, it comes 8 o'clock, he turns up and he sees the sign saying senoritas. He doesn't quite follow, but he goes in anyway, and there's the madams there behind the desk or whatever, and she says yes, and she says, I've come to see Minerva, and he said, oh that's not nice. He said, is it, do you know her, or is it a personal recommendation? Oh no, it's a personal recommendation. Oh, that's very good, she said. And then she said, then he said rather, yeah, she's having a party around here this evening. She's invited me to come out a little early. Anyway, the poor lady didn't understand this, so she called out Minerva. Minerva comes out wearing a tracksuit, and she says, he says, are you Minerva? She said, yes. And he said, did we talk on the phone? She said, no. So, are you having a party tonight? He said, no. And the madame said, I think your friends have played a little joke on you. Oh dear. Well, that was funny, wasn't it? Anyway, on a Friday night as students, and later when we went back to London, we always used to go out to this Chinese restaurant, Wong Kai, and every single Friday night we used to get him to tell us this story about the time he came round here. So that's something we ought to do again one day. I mean the Chinese restaurant, of course, I'm not starting to Minerva. If anybody who's got a clock fetish, that's clearly the place to be, over there. This is the Plaza Callao, and going down there comes back to the Puerta del Sol. Didn't give this walk too much thought, and I've sort of gone in a illogical way in many ways, because there's the place where I had the chocolate and churros a couple of hours ago, and I'm now going towards the Plaza Mayor, which is in this direction, and this is in Madrid of the Habsburgs, the Austrians as it's called in Spanish.